She arrived to sign the final papers on a morning drowned in silence, the sky dull and unforgiving. In that instant, everything Daniel thought he understood about his future cracked open. The courthouse corridors smelled of dust and endings. As he glanced up from the documents pressed tightly in his hands, his chest tightened, breath stalling halfway in. Across the hall stood Mira, the woman he once planned a lifetime with, her expression composed, her stance grounded, yet her body undeniably different. Beneath her coat rested a truth he had never imagined. She was 7 months pregnant, and the realization rooted him in place, as if the world had paused to witness his unraveling. The moment carried the weight of loss, shock, and unanswered questions. If you believe in compassion, forgiveness, and the possibility of second chances, pause for a moment to like this video, share it with someone who may need hope today, leave a comment below, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support matters more than you may realize. Daniel had imagined this day in countless versions, rehearsed it quietly in his mind, as if preparation could soften the impact. But none of those mental rehearsals prepared him for the reality unfolding in front of him. The divorce was meant to be simple, almost procedural. Sign the papers. Exchange brief words. Walk away. For months, he convinced himself that ending the marriage was logical, that love had faded under stress, miscommunication, and pride left unspoken. Yet standing there, seeing Mira changed in ways he had never witnessed, unearthed emotions he believed he had buried. The pregnancy was more than unexpected. It forced him to confront how distant he had truly been, how little of her inner world he had understood. Their marriage hadn't shattered all at once. It thinned slowly through missed dinners, long absences, and conversations postponed until silence replaced them entirely. Daniel believed responsibility meant providing security. Mira needed presence more than protection. As the gap widened, neither had found the courage to reach across it. Their separation came quietly, almost respectfully, as if politeness could dull the pain. Somewhere during that silence, life continued without him, and now it stood before him, undeniable and irreversible. Mira carried herself with a steadiness Daniel once admired but never fully grasped. Time apart had reshaped her. She had learned resilience through isolation, strength through uncertainty. When she discovered she was pregnant, fear had come first, but she chose resolve over collapse. She rebuilt slowly, without resentment, letting the life within her become her reason to endure and believe again. Daniel, by contrast, remained emotionally suspended in the moment they separated. He buried himself in routine, mistaking numbness for healing. He told himself leaving was easier than failing again, that distance required less vulnerability than repair. That belief dissolved the instant he realized the future he stepped away from had moved forward without him. Regret settled heavily, joined by a fear he had never confronted before, the fear of becoming irrelevant to something that once mattered most. As legal proceedings continued, the quiet between them grew heavier than any argument they had ever shared. Daniel began noticing details he once overlooked. The way Mira rested her hands protectively over her stomach, the fatigue hidden beneath her composure, the patience in her movements that suggested long nights faced alone. Each observation stripped away his justifications. For the first time, he questioned whether leaving had been courage or avoidance dressed as dignity. The weeks that followed forced him inward. He began to understand that love doesn't vanish when people fail each other. It withdraws, waiting silently for accountability. Daniel sought guidance, not to rewrite the past, but to understand himself. Slowly, uncomfortably, he learned that presence demanded humility, not control. He stopped defending his choices and started examining them honestly. That shift softened something within him. Mira noticed, not through declarations but through consistency. Daniel respected boundaries. He offered help without expectation. He showed up without demanding forgiveness. He listened more than he spoke and learned to remain present with discomfort instead of fleeing from it. Trust did not return quickly, and neither of them forced it. Healing rarely announces itself dramatically. It appears through effort repeated without assurance. As the pregnancy approached its final weeks, they stood at an uncertain crossroads. The divorce papers still existed. The past remained painful. The future offered no guarantees. Yet something had changed beneath the surface. What once felt like a definitive ending now resembled an open question. They were no longer the same people who had failed each other. Loss had taught them what comfort once concealed. Daniel began to understand that love was not proven through flawless execution, but through responsibility and growth. Mira learned that forgiveness did not require erasing pain, only refusing to let it define what came next. Whether they would rebuild together remained unknown. But for the first time in a long while, hope felt steady rather than desperate. It was no longer fueled by fantasy, but by effort, awareness, and restraint. If this story is touching your heart so far, please take a moment to like this video. Your engagement helps stories like this reach those who may need them most. Please take a moment to like, comment, and share this video. Your support helps stories like this find the people who need them most. In the quiet days leading up to the child's arrival, Daniel began to understand that certain moments permanently reshape who we are. Seeing Mira 7 months pregnant on the day their divorce was finalized was not a punishment meant to wound him. It was an awakening. Life had offered him something rare, not a promise, not a guarantee, but an opening. And whether that opening led to rebuilding a family or simply becoming a more present, accountable man, he made a decision not to waste it. Before we close, we have one small request. Please leave a single word in the comments that captures how this story made you feel. One word can carry more meaning than you realize. When the day finally arrived and new life entered the world, it carried with it a quiet sense of renewal. Daniel stood humbled, knowing that love is not measured by how tightly we cling to the past, but by how deeply we are willing to change. Mira stepped forward with hope, not trapped by what had been lost, but strengthened by everything she had endured. That fragile new beginning,